excited because I had the opportunity to invite him down. I want to find out what's happening in the county. I know it's election year and everything else, and people are going to be making those decisions. But I always say vote for the man, not the party. And Tom Gordon here with me, the county executive. When I say the county executive, Tom, you've been my man way back when you were there before, then had some issues come up and then all kinds of things happen. But we got you back in and you're right back where you were before, fixing things in the county. And my hat's off to you first off before we get started. But let's get it started by talking about some of the accomplishments since you've been back in the office. First thing, have we raised taxes much?
No, I've never raised taxes, and that's my hallmark. It's been 12 years of being a county executive, 8, I took.
That's why I love you.
And I won't raise it again. And you have to learn how to live within your budget, and I've done that. And next 4 years we won't have a tax increase again.
Right, and now, and saying that because after you left, a lot of things changed. And they did away with a lot of things. That's for you work for us. You're there to be sure that the county is giving us some services that we need and things like that. But one of the things that they took away, and I thought it was tremendous that you got back involved with it, was the ice cream festival. That was a huge thing, and they just said, hey, we're done away with it. But you've been big on parks and everything.
All the parks,
yeah.
and all the parks have to have things where families can get together, whether it's the Glasgow Park, which is absolutely jam-packed, and we're improving that every day. The park that I bought in 1998 is now one of the greatest parks. Carousel, I had to open that back up to the public.
Because it went to a private sector there for a while.
It was being just totally dilapidated, and we cleaned it up now. It's beautiful. We got a petting zoo. We've got a fishing pond, turtle pond, horse riding lessons, and everybody can go out there on weekends, have a good time with your families, and ride ponies for free. I mean, we're fixing up Rockwood Park again, and we've got quite a bit of other parks. We have 255 parks, and we improve them all.
Wow.
Whether it's Del Castle, but the big theme parks, we're having great diversity in attendance, and large numbers of families on weekends. Sometimes up to 7,000, and they just enjoy it. And it is I spend money on parks, libraries, and police, and police department is one of the greatest in the country right now, and we had to do a lot of things.
And that went down when you left office.
In the 8 years.
Yeah.
But I can tell you today, we haven't had one excessive use complaint. It's been very, they're solving everything that comes in. They've had 12 murders, 11 are solved, and they've got crime down anywhere between 16 and 25% all over the county, and it's because of the technology and the training. And we brought on more officers, took it up to 400, and they're doing a fabulous job of keeping crime down.
Because if people don't know, that's coming kind of your background, where you came from. I mean, you actually were the chief for the county police department way back when.
For 8 years.
And you know what they face on a daily basis.
We took that police department, made it a community police department, and part of the actions they did was added into what was a crime bill for the country. So the whole country kind of adapted the community policing. They are a different breed of officers, and that's why they treat everybody with respect every day. And we don't have the problems that other places have. And I'm very proud of the public safety, which is paramedics. The 911 center is very advanced. We did, the fusion center there, which was preparing us for terrorism and the things that could come. And day-to-day activities by the police department with their computers and their predictive policing, which is a fabulous program.
But I want the people to know, because I know you, and I've known you since way back when, and how hard, people don't realize how hard you work and how much you care. And that's what I want to stress the most, how much you really care about the county, but more than just the county, the people in the county.
Most county executives take the job and didn't come to work. I'm there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and tonight I'll be done at 8 o'clock. And to do it right, you've got to manage it. You've got to manage it more than 8 hours. And anybody can tell you I'm the first one there and I'm the last one to leave.
Yeah, and it takes the right team, and sometimes, you know, and then that's sometimes where some issues come up that come back onto you, is other people that you bring in. You don't, you know, as a team,
Yep.
you don't sometimes know what other people are going to do. You hope they do the right
Yep.
things, but when you see something that's not right, you fix it, Tom.
Yep.
And that's what I want to tell people, because you know, anytime you're in public office, you know, you're always going to hear the bad stuff, no matter what. You know, they come out of the woodworks with anything they can with you. The press, as we know, you know, they look for
Right.
that sells papers, that sells television, that sells it all, is when it's bad. But the good that you've done for this county is just phenomenal, and I just can't stress it enough to folks. And doing it without raising taxes, that, you know, and you know what you got to spend. You make the adjustments over here to fix this and all that. But then you mentioned the park out in Glasgow. I got my hats off to you for that. I mean, that is such a fantastic park. I mean, and all the bears utilizing that. I mean, a lot of people.
I had to buy that back from a developer. That was 300 acres, and we were going to build a shopping center. And we had not, this is 97 when I took off. We had no park. And it's an important, it's going to now have a farmer's market, a village where people can gather. We did a balk park this year. So I bought it in 98, 99, and it was built when I left, and then it kind of didn't get any improvement. So we came back and put a pond in for fishing, dog bark, and now we're cleaning up the houses and making a little farmer's market there.
Oh wow, because there was an old farmhouse
It's beautiful.
there. Yeah.
At Christmas time last year, we had a great celebration there, and this year it's going to be fabulous. And it's just, it's got thousands of people there every day, walking and playing with their dogs. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah, and then you mentioned carousel. I just want to bring this back up because my cameraman was out there here a couple of weeks ago. The county works on doing events that are family oriented, that folks can come out and enjoy what the county brings to them. I mean,
A lot of people can't afford to go on vacation, we're finding out. But you can go there. Sometimes we have to sleep under the stars, where you can come all night and pitch a tent. It's meant to keep, and we're getting thousands there. I was nobody going there when I came back in 2012. Well, we have thousands there on the weekend, where you're going to come there maybe with a picnic or down by the pool or down by the pond or with the animals that are there. But it's 220 acres of rolling acres with, 50, 60
and
horses.
horseback riding, free.
Horseback riding, pony lessons.
Yeah, and you look at it and you think of it, because Wilmington, sometimes we forget, Wilmington's part of the county. I mean, even though they have their own thing going and stuff, but you work with the city of Wilmington
Well, every
quite a
city,
bit.
whether it's Middletown, you come into county parks, and it's been hard convincing the folks in the city that this is your park. Now we do have great diversity there, and but I was at an event last weekend there, 7,000 people, and everybody gets along.
Yeah.
And I think it breaks down a lot of the tensions and it helps out the
We're a
families.
community. We're a community, and you try to bring that entire community together, and you work with the different. I know that you, and I got to bring this up. I mean, I went to, you invited me back when the people were coming in to talk about the port of Wilmington and some of the things that I was so excited, Tom, because we've talked about it. The biggest thing we need in this area is jobs. I mean, that knocks
We
down
need
crime.
livable wage jobs, and that we worked on almost right after taking office. We now have convinced everyone that we need these container ports. We have the best location in the world right now, and we have this GM sitting there with 10 train tracks behind it, going everywhere in the country, owned by China. So we're putting together with the state. I think you're going to see an Edgemoor port. You're going to see the Diamond State port revitalized. You're going to see the one next to it with the River's Edge port. I think we're going to see all three, and then eventually Claymont will come on. And now you're talking 80,000 jobs, direct, indirect, and induced. And that will bring the city back. The problem with the city is not the people there. It's the people that don't have jobs that lost
Good paying
GM,
jobs, as
Chrysler.
you mentioned.
Good paying jobs. A service job is good to have, but you can't raise a family. It's just sad. But when you, those port jobs pay enough that you can raise a family, buy a house, a car, and send your kid to college.
Yeah, and that's what we need. I mean, as you know, it's migrated out of here with the downsizing of DuPont, MBNA being sold off. All this different things, have happened to Delaware, and really nothing has regenerated and come into play. You went to work on this way back when, and
I've been working with the longshoremen. I got to give them credit. They did the study. Kamoko Harris and Bubijak, John Ash. These guys knew that we were missing the market, and they paid for the study that came in and showed that this is the best market. But it doesn't just come from Wilmington. They come from as far as Sussex County that work there. And people that have made a mistake in their life and have been in prison can come there and actually get a job and start their life over, and they have a lot of them. And it is what can bring Delaware back, starting with the city, the county, and the state. And it's going to happen. And my opponents are, downplaying that, and they're saying I broke the county and I promised these ports. Well, I promise you, the facts are, if you read the study the state put out, that they're going to do all of them. And
Yeah.
they're going to do now. They threw one on there at Edgemore.
Right. Well, I can tell you, folks, I'm sitting right here now, and I don't pull, one way or another. I know for a fact that when the longshoremen came to you and started working with you, you got behind this 100%, and you've been, I know it's occupied a lot of your time.
Every day,
Yeah.
some period of time. But I did a study by a financier when I came in office, and it said everything's gone. The only thing you have left that could remotely bring the state back is the Port of Wilmington. You have the best location, and we hired the Richardson Associates, and they're a global firm, and they came back and said, we're right in the center of the import-export business, and no one, New York or the other competitor, I think it's South Carolina, they don't have the ability to throw down tracks now and go.
What I got from that because we had an opportunity, and you can go to our YouTube page, and we've got that still up on our YouTube page, that study from 3-4 years ago
Yes.
when they came into town. And what I got from that most of all was the fact that our port, the way that it's situated, we're closer to ocean waters than anywhere else in the United States. I mean, so ships can go, they're talking about 40, I can't believe that they can bring a ship in, unload it, and load it, and get it out
45
here in
minutes.
45 minutes.
Otherwise,
45
the
minutes.
ship passes us, goes all the way to New York, takes 7 more days and a couple $100,000 with tugboats, and you can be in and out of here in 45 minutes. New York, it's maybe 7 days plus. We have 495 right there. Nobody's going to beat us, and we'll take, we'll take 5% of the market, fill up all the ports. It won't still affect much of the traffic.
And then you look at it, because all the wheat people out in the Midwest said, hey, wait a minute, if they open that up, we'll ship our stuff on the train tracks, right?
You remember all that.
Oh,
One of the things we didn't even talk about is the Farm Bureau said we have a problem
where I was
getting
going next.
exports out here. And we didn't want to add those numbers because nobody was believing it. But they go right now down to Mississippi and out of New Orleans, and here they want to come and export back to China and India and these places food, and we're going to make that hookup. So
Yeah,
it's just going to blossom.
the train, it's all set up. It's already in place. You just got to do some little cleaning up
You
here
got
and
to
there.
show the Chinese, and we have twice, that they know they're sitting on a gold mine, and it will connect to Claymont, Edgemore, the Diamond State Port, and the Newport, and that's going to create so many other jobs.
And other jobs on top of other jobs. You're talking about revitalizing our economy like it hasn't been able to do
It
in
needs a
years.
kickstart,
Yeah.
and that's why we're having problems in the city with crime. Those are people that lost Chrysler, GM, Phoenix Steel, Avon, and all the other good-paying jobs. They've
Yeah,
lost
yeah.
it, and they're sitting. They've tried. They were laid off in Michigan. They went over here and got laid off. And it's hundreds of times. Right now, the city of Wilmington has become a city of renters, and 700 empty homes because these people can't afford a home.
Yeah, well,
That's what
but it's affected all of us, Tom. You know it as well as I do, because it's trickled down. I mean,
DuPont's left the city,
Yeah.
and Hercules left the city. Well, the city raises 90% of the taxes for the state. You don't want everybody to leave the city, and we got to rebuild that, and we're going to do it quickly. It's not done yet. Actually 2 of the major financiers came in, and they're waiting for 2 more. So we've got interest from overseas. We got interest from Wall Street. We got interest from a very famous American family.
what I gather from a lot of it too is it's not going to cost us the money to get it all going. I mean, they're all saying, "Hey, here's we'll do it all."
It will cost state nothing. We paid for the environmental, Wilmington County and the state. The environmental will be done. And the President of the United States created a program, actually came to the Port of Wilmington and announced it. It's called a private partnership, P3. And you pick a partner, and some state or county has to be responsible for 50 years, but you don't pay money, but their land returns you in 50 years, and they will do the work that's needed on the river, and we will be employing a lot of people. State will be making all the money from the taxes and the income. City can make some money, and we're going to have a lot of people making enough money to raise families again.
Union jobs too, you know. And,
An awful
yeah.
lot of union jobs. When you talk about 80,000, you're talking probably 50% of it union, 50% of it non-union. And it's so good that, you know, when you run for office, they have to attack that I'm going to raise taxes and I broke the government, which, by the way, has its largest surplus ever. And, and I'm going to break the government, and I was only kidding about the ports. It's not going to happen. And I got a stock market opening in about a week or two, if you followed that. That was to encourage the lawyers and all to not leave city. And there's no more mergers and acquisitions going on. So we're going to create a whole new business, IPOs, initial public offering, and they're going to have a niche that's going to be bigger than Philly. It's going to rival New York, and that's already in progress, and they're going to announce it hopefully for the primary, because they're saying that didn't happen either. But I can't work on their times. They've gotten all the approvals they need, and they're moving into the 8th floor of the Hercules building, which I insisted had to be in the city near Rodney Square.
Oh, what a gorgeous building that is. It's going to waste, now it's going to be occupied once again. But you've done, you know, and that's the things that people got to understand. I want to, you know, relate it back to that city of Wilmington, because that is part of Newcastle County. You're constantly helping to revitalize that city as well as the rest of the county out here.
In Middletown, we're doing in the MOT area, we're going to do a paramedic station, which is very necessary. A good sized one to accommodate the growth. We got Wiggins Mill Park, which is a park down there we're building, and we're looking for a location for another library down there. So we recognize the importance of the MOT area and trying to control the growth properly down there, because it's going to become a mess.
Well, they got the road being built going around it now, and that's going to take quite a few years. But you know as well as I
encourage
do.
growth. I'm working hard. You read about the area on the river. I'm trying to preserve these 2 farms. Get criticized for that because they think it's too much money, but I'm paying the same amount as I would have to pay if I sewered it. But they can shoot your opponents. They have to cut into the fact that I never raised taxes. They have to cut into the fact that I may have created all these jobs that are coming, and they have to. So it's really worse, I think, this time around, where they can just say whatever they want, and nobody will do the research to see if it's true. They just print it.
Well, but that's why we're here,
That's why
because
we're here. I appreciate it.
because I wanted to get this out, because I was so excited. You know, I thought, well, we have got it, because all the parties came together with the port. I'm going back to that again. I don't want to just keep hyping on that, but when I saw that and everything else, I thought, we're saved.
That's a game changer.
Yeah, we are saved. I mean, these people, you're talking about homes being bought and sold. I mean, it immediately, everybody's income's going to go up. I mean, people can go buy brand new cars. I mean, I know I do a lot with the car dealerships and different ones. They're all down because the economy's not bringing it in.
We have the best longshoremen in the country, and I mean that they've lowered their salaries to accommodate some of these corporations. They never strike, and they don't steal. That's a problem, you know, around the country with ports, and they work hard. There's 1,500 of them, and there's not one that doesn't work hard, because there's another 1,000 waiting to take their place. So what's wrong with expanding that? You're not giving away anything. They're going to work hard, and they're going to be able to raise their family like a lot of people in this state.
Right. But I'm just glad, because I know that you've worked very hard at it, and I watched. I hate to say this, but I watched last time before you had to take the break from county executive there, and I watched you build libraries, build up our parks. You did all this, and then somebody else came along and kind of got some of the credit for that. But people, and I said it last time you were running for office, they got to go back and look at where it all started. I mean, the libraries.
I built all but 2.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful. And we're putting a cutting-edge library right now on Route 9, which is the area where the port's going to be built. That is going to be the growth center of the whole state. We're putting this innovation center there. We send our librarians all over the country, say, come back with what works, where urban kids go.
I shouldn't have sold my house on Cherry Lane.
I'm telling you, well, the investors are watching this, and they're buying up houses. And I tell everybody, don't sell your house. If you live in that area, don't sell your house, because it's going to double.
Yeah.
And when you see, but people are speculating. They're buying up stuff around Route 9 now. This library is 43,000 square feet.
Oh, wow.
And with the port expansion coming right there, there's going to be upscale restaurants. There's going to be all kinds of things that service the trucks that come out of there. It's amazing.
Well, you got to take care of all the employees that's going to be coming out of there and stuff. So you're going to change that whole scenery
When I took
down
office,
through there.
the prostitutes are back. I got rid of that last time I was in office. The prostitutes are back, and housing were being rented, and it was starting to pick up in crime. I think if you get out there now, you can see the excitement right now of something to come. This person's business is sold. There's people buying houses, which we've got to keep it home ownership.
Yeah, I know a friend of mine has a restaurant down that way, PJ there, and I always told him, I said, you just hold on to it, dude. I mean,
Hold on to it and maybe improve it, because
Yeah.
the whole thing's going to be upscaled, and you will have customers.
Oh,
You're going to have lots of customers. But don't let somebody come offer you money for it right now. You waited this long, hang in there, because come in the county and look at the plans, the money we're putting in housing and all the other programs around there to bring that community back.
yeah. No, you brought me up to something else that I thought you was fantastic that you guys were doing in taking some of the rundown houses in areas and the county coming in. I mean, we covered that way back when, and you guys remodeling these houses.
Penrose Holland spent his whole career, and we've got millions going in. We take these houses that are sold, we fix it up, and put it back to home ownership, and that's the key. You want to have a good community. Let people own their homes. Let them have, because a lot of middle class and minority communities, they get the value by their house. That's all they own, and if their house goes up, that's their inheritance for their kids. And we know that, so we're working very hard to, when we fix up a house, we turn it back over to a homeowner.
Right.
We don't hold on to it.
And people in need of homes. I mean, and I've seen where you've done some for handicapped folks as well. You know, so there's a
right
lot
now
of
in the city, you have the suburban people coming in buying houses, renting it to these people in the city for what they could have bought it for.
Yeah.
And that's the bad. I mean, it's probably, I know there's 1,750 empty homes, and I bet 60% of the city right now is rented. And you cannot have a good community when a lot of them are slumlords, or when somebody doesn't control your destiny. And that's really predominant in the city and some of the areas in the county. We're attacking it as we sit here, and I give Penrose Hollins credit for that, for attracting the 20 millions. And he went out to some banks and it's a good sales pitch, because when you fix up a house and you give it to a homeowner, they pay taxes and the communities go up. But if you let it become this one leaves, it's hard to manage, it's hard to police, and the property value drops. And then it affects the government. So by putting a little seed money out there, you get it back threefold.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, right now, it'd be nice if you could just say, okay, I'm going for this much longer, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, but you get interrupted every 4 years by having to stop and well, you don't stop, but you have to take time. Now your day's doubled, because now you're not only trying to handle county business, but you got
It's a
to.
democracy, but I think this time is even worse than ever, because you can make stuff up and nobody will check it out. My opponent said he did 3 ports, and he didn't do any ports, but you won't tell us where the ports are. The worst is, I broke the government. I'm saying we have a very high surplus, and I never raise taxes. Well, you will. Well, I know I won't. And when I leave office, I'll leave a surplus for the next.
You know how many have said it over the years in different places that they won't raise taxes and everything.
Every executive got elected by saying I won't raise taxes. Everyone did within 2 years.
There's only one that hasn't.
And I tell you how, you know how to do it. What's our budget, and we spend within that. You don't go out. Taxes is not a good thing right now. When you have the second highest foreclosure rate in the country, I raise taxes. Now I will put a lot of more people. You don't get a one-to-one. Put a lot of people out of their homes. I think the schools have to slow down. You know, until this economy gets healthy, you can't take money from the people that don't have enough money right now to raise a family.
Right.
And that's a real problem. And we're going to come out with a report that shows if you live in Newcastle County, you're paying 6 times the taxes of the other 2 counties. And that we send 60 million, something called equalization, downstate to their schools, but yet the city can't have a school district. I mean, this report's going to shock everybody.
Yeah, and we talked about that, and it's something, you don't have direct control of any of the school stuff. That comes from governor's offices and stuff like that. But at the same time, we've talked about it, and that's, there's a lot of work needs to be done with that area.
Yep, we need to slow down on charter schools and fix our schools.
Yeah.
And we need to, the city of Wilmington raises about 90% of the taxes. And it's just very tough to live in a city right now with all that money going out of there, nothing being kept.
Yeah, so we're going to try to figure that out, and there's one way you can figure out how to do it, and that's to help keep this young man in the office, because you're getting old looking for 52
4
now.
more years, I'm done.
But before we end everything, I personally would like to say thank you so much for all the service that you've done for the county, because, you're talking 8 years as chief of police, before that as a police officer, and then coming in as a county executive for 8 years, and then leaving and coming back, and, so How many years total you served this county?
You know, it's 12 and 12 and 20.
Yeah, yeah, so, 32 years,
32.
yeah, and still willing to go 4 more years.
Just to
worth-
finish these projects, because I know I'm right on it, and then I'm really going to retire.
Yeah, yeah, and it's been tough. It's been tough, I know that, this trip here, I mean, it's because the economy's not what it was. at
It's
one-
been horrible.
Yeah, but you've been able to do it without raising the taxes, got a lot more projects, you're doing a lot down in the Middletown area. So you folks down in Middletown, you want to keep that growth going, this is the man that's going to keep it going. We got to end it now, Tom, it's always a pleasure to have you come
And
down.
I want to thank you, because in these debates, I get 2 minutes
Yeah.
to answer all the criticism. You know, after 12 years, you just don't get 2 minutes. It doesn't do it.
No,
To
no.
be able to sit here with you, you can explain things, and I've never had a chance to do it in the whole campaign. So I
Yeah, well,
appreciate it.
hopefully we'll have you back before the election time goes. Primaries are coming up, you don't have anybody against you in primary, do you?
No, I do. It's September 13th.
Oh,
And
yeah.
That's the ball game for me, because after that, I get the general election, I'll win.
Yeah,
big.
okay,
I always-
so, September 13th, just don't forget about everybody else. Remember to name Tom Gordon when it goes to primaries, and then we'll take it to election from there. Tom, thank you again for
Thank
all
you
your
so
service,
much.
buddy.
I really mean it.
Yeah, go to the polls on the primary, folks, and get Tom back in there.